This is Valley View News.
Officials say at least 62 people are dead after shooting broke out in a Westgate shopping mall in Kenya. The rise in usage of e-cigarettes has people doubting if they are beneficial to help people quit smoking. An event held in Santa Monica will help wounded veterans through a cycling experience.
Good afternoon and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Naomi Ogaldez.
And I'm Rosie Chavez. Authorities in Kenya continued their days-long battle against terrorists who attacked a shopping mall in Nairobi. A number of the Somali-based terrorists were killed. Kenyan security forces engaged in a standoff with remaining terrorists. The gunmen set mattresses on fire inside the mall as a distraction. The news came on the third day of the siege after more than a dozen gunmen attacked the mall. They killed at least 62 people and took hostages. Kenyan authorities said they made progress against the terrorists and had the mall surrounded. The FBI said it was looking into claims that some of the terrorists are American citizens.
President Obama spoke at a memorial ceremony for the victims of the Navy Yard shootings. The memorial was held at the Marine Barracks located a few blocks from the Navy Yard.
We cannot begin to comprehend your loss. We know that no words we offer today are equal to the magnitude, to the depths of that loss. But we come together as a grateful nation to honor your loved ones, to grieve with you, and to offer, as best we can, some solace and some comfort.
The president said the shooting should lead the ways the U.S. can reduce gun violence. Obama said this was the 5th time in his presidency he has had to grieve with the families of victims of mass shootings. Washington, D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray called for tighter gun legislation. The NRA responded to the shooting by saying military installations should beef up security.
Nearly 500 people came out to support the second annual Cycle for Heroes event in Santa Monica. The event raises money to send wounded veterans on the journey of a lifetime. Christiana Kelly has a story.
After the national anthem plays, Keontae Story will hop on his bike and attempt to cycle for 3 hours. However, unlike most people here, Keontae will have to do it with a prosthetic leg. Keontae lost his leg in Afghanistan in 2010 after stepping on an IED.
As I was going through, I was in the last few guys, and going inside the building, it went off as I triggered a stepping on it.
Hundreds of people came out to the Santa Monica Pier for the Cycle for Heroes fundraiser. The funds raised at the spinning event will go to the Heroes Project. Spearheaded by Tim Medvets, the Heroes Project helps to rehabilitate wounded soldiers.
You know what? I'm just a proud American. That's all I am, doing my part.
But the Heroes Project doesn't just heal them physically, it helps to heal them mentally and emotionally by taking them to climb the world's tallest mountains.
It's all about the summit.
You know, summiting that mountain was that highlight of, I figured out who I was at that moment.
Mark Zambon lost both of his legs in Afghanistan in 2011 and summited one of the tallest mountains in the world a year and a half later.
It was, a great experience in just returning ability that I lost. So.
And then after you summited Mount Kilimanjaro, what was that like?
That was epic. It was an amazing thing. And I did the climb with the dog tags of 2 of my close friends that have been killed, one in Iraq, one in Afghanistan. And I buried their dog tags up there.
Cycling for Heroes isn't just about raising money for the Heroes Project. It's also about honoring the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attack. In order to spin for the full 3 hours, supporters had to raise at least $500 to secure their bike.
We're riding to support the heroes and support 9/11 and all of the people that fight for us and our freedom.
The rock and roll themed event took in over $134,000, and they rode until the sun went down. At the historic Santa Monica Pier, I'm Christiana Kelly, Valley View News.
Neighborhood councils all around Los Angeles are meeting to talk about a bond that's promising to repair Los Angeles roads. Valley View News reporter Judith Ratana has a story.
No matter what neighborhood you're in, bumps and cracks like these can be found all over Los Angeles.
Can't avoid them. Walking, driving, skating, biking, they're everywhere. They're really bad. Like, I've never seen such bad streets, and I've lived a lot of places.
Roads are so bad, drivers pay up to $700 a year in car maintenance. Citizens like Glenn Bailey think it's about time the city pays attention to its roads.
This is definitely a problem that's gotten worse over time because it's been not fully addressed. It's been neglected.
Street repairs are aimed to bring all Los Angeles roads to A and B level ratings. The average street is at a C- rating. With cracks like these in the road, you can't be surprised that this street received an F rating. Residents here aren't denying that any work has to be done. Their street hasn't seen any repairs since the 60s. They're questioning the price of the project.
Personally, I've always been skeptical about community projects. I always feel like they always end up costing the city a lot more than usual, and that's something that a taxpayer like myself is always worried about.
The reconstruction will cost a proposed $3 billion. Northridge East Neighborhood Council President Steve Patel says the roads need more than just maintenance.
Our roads are getting to a point where it's not just maintenance, we need new roads. And obviously that is very, very costly. And in the long run, we're going to need more roads because obviously traffic is not getting any better, it's getting worse.
The bond is expected to be on the November 4th, 2014 ballot. For Valley View News, this is Judith Ratana.
A recent study from the Lancet Journal shows that electronic cigarettes can help people quit smoking regular cigarettes, but there are still some questions on how good of an alternative e-cigs actually are. Valley View News reporter Camilla Rambaldi has more on the story.
This may look like smoke, but it is nicotine inhaled, releasing vapor, an electronic cigarette.
I feel like it's just a way better alternative than cigarettes.
Heard that they were a lot healthier for you than regular cigarettes.
They were great because they didn't make my clothes smell.
E-cigs use a small amount of power to vaporize nicotine, which is then inhaled. Users can also choose from a variety of juices to add flavor to their vape. But is vaping risk-free? California State University Health Policy Dr. Kathleen Young says e-cigs may not be the best alternative.
They have actually more nicotine and can be more addictive.
Electronic cigarettes have still not been approved for therapeutic use by the FDA, but a vapor shop in Woodland Hills says electronic cigarettes are still a good alternative to regular cigarettes.
Owner of Interstate Vape Michael Lynch says a majority of his customers have quit smoking regular cigarettes because of e-cigs.
Some of these customers have smoked for 40-something years, and they come in here and we put them on a device, we put them on a high level of nicotine, and they don't smoke anymore.
Lynch says that e-cigs don't contain chemicals that are cancer-causing.
With the electronic cigarettes, you have propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, and nicotine. And you're vaporizing a liquid. There's no smoke involved. It's like putting your head over boiling water. So it's a liquid vapor.
But Dr. Young says more information is necessary.
Nobody has any even short-term data to show the ill effects. But as I said, if it has more nicotine than a regular cigarette, then I would severely caution people just to make note of that.
E-cigs were first introduced in 2006 and are now part of a $1.7 billion market. In Los Angeles, this is Camilla Rambaldi reporting for Valley View News.
The new school year is already underway for most of the schools in the California education system, and one local university is seeing record highs in student population. Valley View News reporter Ryan Music has more on the story.
These students are just a small portion of what California State University Northridge has recorded as their highest enrollment ever in its 55-year history, with over 38,000 students this semester.
Well, the biggest impact it has for me is that I was supposed to be living in the dorms, but I'm on the waiting list. I was like number 500 a couple months ago. I think I'm still in the 300s, so I was really looking forward to staying in the dorms, so that's probably what's impacted me the most.
Other students have complained about long lines like this subway on campus during lunch hours, Or like Brian Russell says, the effect it has on student-professor interaction.
The classroom sizes are pretty big compared to, the teacher. I don't even feel like asking the teacher for help because there's so many students and I don't want to be like the dumb one in the class, right?
With such a large growing student body, CSUN professor Bronte Reynolds says overexpansion can be a problem.
When I first came, the student population was about 31,000. So that's a pretty significant growth, and I would just suggest to those who might listen that growth is wonderful. It brings in more diversity and more energy to the campus, while at the same time making sure that we don't grow so rapidly and so big that it becomes unmanageable on behalf of the students.
Another big problem is parking for those who have to drive to class. And it can have a greater effect on students than you might think, as Jose Marin suggests.
If you don't come at a certain time, you're kind of screwed for a parking spot and just changes your whole day, honestly. If you get a bad parking spot, then you're late to class, late for work. It's kind of almost a domino effect, and even though it's just parking, it's still a hassle.
Students can purchase single semester or year-long permits in addition to single-day passes that can be bought at stations like this here behind me. But that still doesn't guarantee that they can find a place to park on campus. Reporting from Cal State Northridge, I'm Ryan Music, Valley View News.
Coming up in sports, we have Major League Baseball wildcard news and other postseason updates. Shaquille O'Neal is teaming up with Lakers rival, and Tiger Woods has won another prestigious award.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
I don't know what's happening. Start a new chat. What did I do? Okay, wow. It's so weird.
Hey! Hi!
Oh my gosh. Hi! God, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so nervous. Gia, you're so big. Come closer to the camera. Wait, now you're in my face. That was so good.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
So Stephanie, with the baseball postseason coming up, who do you think will win?
Well, the pressure is definitely on, Naomi. I'm not sure yet. There have been great games the past couple of weeks, and it's bound to be an exciting postseason. The Los Angeles Dodgers became the first team to clinch a spot in the October playoffs. Following the Dodgers were the Boston Red Sox, who earned their win after beating the Toronto Blue Jays. The Atlanta Braves made it to the playoffs after clinching the National League East Division in their game against Chicago. Other teams that have clinched their division are Oakland and St. Louis. Still in the race as the wildcard teams are Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and Cleveland. The postseason for Major League Baseball will begin with the National League wildcard game on October 1st. The National League Division Series will begin on October 3rd, with the American League Division Series starting on October 4th. It will be the best of 5 series, with the team with a better regular season record hosting the possible 5th game. The World Series will begin on October 23rd at the home of the American League champions. The National League is looking to win their 4th World Series in a row. The Yankees held a ceremony retiring Mariano Rivera's jersey number last Sunday. The all-time leader in saves wore number 42 and is the last remaining player in Major League Baseball to do so. The League University retired number 42 and 97 in honor of Jackie Robinson, but allowed players who already wore the number to continue. Rivera spent his entire 19-year career with the New York Yankees. ESPN has developed a new ad campaign for its flagship program, SportsCenter. The campaign uses the iconic melody that the program has been known for since it was first introduced back in 1989. The new ad features a combination of pro athletes, amateur athletes, and fans performing their own version of the melody. Shaquille O'Neal has purchased a minority stake in the Sacramento Kings. The Kings have long been branded as one of the worst franchises in sports, and they are hoping that Shaq can change that. New owner Vivek Ranadive says that Shaq represented 21st century basketball and understood the vision of building a global brand. Shaq is one of the most famous sports figures in the world, and the Kings believe that he will help turn their negative image around. Los Angeles Lakers Vice President Jeannie Buss is angry that her brother Jim hired Mike D'Antoni instead of Phil Jackson. Jackson and Jeannie Buss are engaged to be married. In her upcoming memoir, Laker Girl, Buss says the news destroyed her. Buss questions why her brother wasn't upfront about the decision. Buss says Jackson got a call saying they hired D'Antoni instead because they thought he was a better fit. Kobe Bryant is hoping to come back strong from his Achilles tendon injury, but there is another problem for the Lakers. Kobe is entering the last year of his contract, and the Lakers have to decide whether they want to sign him again. The contract Kobe could receive would range anywhere between $10 million and $32 million. The Lakers are hoping to sign big free agents next year, maybe LeBron James or Carmelo Anthony. For that to happen, Kobe will have to take a huge pay cut. 49ers linebacker Aldon Smith has been arrested on suspicion of DUI and marijuana possession. Smith crashed into a tree and drove his truck onto the driveway of a San Jose home. The resident says she heard the crash and immediately walked out to help.
Looked like he asleep because I see the smoke come out from the car, but he didn't know, and the engine still working.
This was Smith's second DUI arrest. His team is aware of the incident and has placed him on a non-football injury list. That means he's out of action for at least 1 week. Reggie Bush wanted to play against the Washington Redskins on Sunday, but didn't because he's hurt. Bush was injured against the Arizona Cardinals when he sprained his left knee. He says he begged head coach Jim Schwartz to let him play, but was held out because the Lions didn't want to risk hurting him more. Bush says that the main fear was getting hit before he had fully recovered. He might have the same problem next week when the Lions take on the hard-hitting Chicago Bears. After winning 5 PGA Tour victories, Tiger Woods was awarded the America's Points-Based Award for the Player of the Year. Woods collected 90 points, 10 for each of his 5 victories, and 20 for the money title and the Varnden Trophy collection. This marks his 11th PGA Player of the Year award. He has not won the award since 2009. The LAPD is now working with the Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition to spread the word on bicycle safety. They say the majority of accidents come from a lack of knowledge on the proper safety guidelines. Many people in the city of Los Angeles have trouble adapting to the bike lanes and the people on bicycles using them. The Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition says the County of Los Angeles has less than 1,300 miles of bikeways, and only 38% of the county has access to bikeways. The LA Bicycle Coalition found someone to help them speak up about bike lanes. Traffic officers like the ones here at the Valley Traffic Division in Panorama City are now reaching out to the bicycle community with more information on how they can be safe. Officer Troy Williams is one of the many officers now speaking at community meetings to inform the public on bicycle safety.
We're hitting it from both heads. So one, we're going to perform a presentation to educate the driver of the bicyclist's rights on the roadway and also educate the bicyclists on their responsibilities.
He also says the majority of accidents come from the non-professional cycling community.
Professional cyclists is doing everything right. They know the rules, they know the laws, they know the safety equipment. We're trying to get the word out to the rest of the bicycling community that uses bikes to just ride a couple miles here or there to work or to the store.
Officer Williams says another tip on staying safe involves wearing bright t-shirts or light-colored clothing.
Like I tell all my friends, the car always wins.
Sergeant Washak at Valley Traffic Division tells us he has been involved in over 20 vehicle collisions while riding his bike.
I was crossing Victory Boulevard and a car took a left turn right in front of me, so I hit my brakes hard.
He avoided that car, but then another came along.
They decided to go into the number 2 lane, which is where I was stopped. She hit the brakes, so then I got another ride, and off of the hood of her car onto the roadway.
In Panorama City, I'm Stephanie Marroquin, Valley View News.
That's all for sports. Now back to you.
Up next, we will talk about the big winners at the Emmy Awards. Mark Wahlberg finally graduated high school, and there are new restrictions on standing in line at Disneyland. Stay tuned.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything...
It is I, Cruz Zinkorbell. Okay, time for cake.
It's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Camilla, what did you think about the Emmys?
I thought it had some pretty good results. It was a good show.
Well, let's hear more about it.
The ratings from the Emmys are up by 30% over last year. The show was watched by more than 60 million viewers. The Emmys ran for 3 hours and 15 minutes, but the ratings winner for the evening turned out to be Sunday Night Football. The NFL game topped the Emmys with more than 18 million viewers. Several Hollywood stars have been honored in this year's In Memoriam special at the Emmys. James Gandolfini, Jonathan Winters, Andy Williams, and Glee's Corey Monteith are some of them. Monteith died in July from heroin and alcohol poisoning. Each star was represented by a speaker who briefly talked about their career and talent. The tributes were spread out throughout the evening Emmy program. The 65th Primetime Emmy Awards were full of both upsets and predictable winners. One of the big winners of the night was Breaking Bad, the AMC series about a teacher-turned-meth dealer. It was the show's first win in the Best Drama category. Breaking Bad cast member Anna Gunn also won Best Supporting Actress. The series will wrap up on its run this month. The countdown to Breaking Bad's final episode is generating a lot of buzz from fans and critics. Mark Wahlberg has earned his high school diploma. The 42-year-old actor dropped out of high school in the 9th grade. Wahlberg took classes over the past year and graduated this summer. He said that getting his diploma was a humbling and challenging experience. Wahlberg told People magazine he next wants to go to USC to study film. Disney Parks has just announced people with disabilities will no longer be ushered to the front of lines. The change has come in response to numerous reports of guests abusing the system. The new policy will issue disabled visitors tickets that offer an entry time and a shorter wait. That is similar to those of the FastPass system that's offered to all park guests now. The policy will take effect on October 9th. Music legend Ray Charles is getting another tribute. The U.S. Postal Service is honoring the late rhythm and blues star with a commemorative stamp. The stamp is part of the Music Icon series that also honored Tejano music singer Lydia Mendoza and country legend Johnny Cash. The artwork for the stamp is based on a photograph by Yves Carré. The release of the Charles stamp also coincides with a new album titled Ray Charles Forever. It features recordings by Charles, including America the Beautiful and Ring of Fire. That's the latest in entertainment news. Now back to you, Naomi.
The debate lasted 2 years, but West Hollywood has finally banned the sale of fur clothing. The ban is the latest measure taken by the city that calls itself the humane capital of the United States. West Hollywood also regulates chicken cages and bans the declawing of cats. The West Hollywood Chamber of Commerce says the ban is unfair to the city's fashion businesses. Violators of this ban are subject to fines starting at $250.
A recent study by the Pew Research Center shows 40 million non-Latinos will speak Spanish by 2020. That is because many people would have learned the language in school and will pass it on to their children. The number of Latinos who speak Spanish is expected to drop by 66% by 2020. Third-generation Hispanics tend to watch television mainly in English.
The Tea Party and some Republicans disagree on how to approach the potential government shutdown, which could happen in a week. Tea Party leader Senator Ted Cruz wants to block the funding for the Affordable Health Care Act with a filibuster, but Republicans in the House and Senate opposed to the tactic. They say they do not want a government shutdown. All they want is to stop the president's health care law at a later time.
President Obama will be discussing the Syria situation at the United Nations and may talk to the newly elected Iranian president. The annual United Nations General Assembly takes place in New York, where the president will lay out America's foreign policy plans. Newly elected Iranian President Rouhani is hoping that he and President Obama get a chance to talk. The two countries have not met face-to-face since 1979. The White House is skeptical of President Rouhani's words and hopes to see actions instead.
A German hacking group says it has unlocked iPhone's fingerprint security system. A spokesperson for the Chaos Computer Club says a member created a fake fingerprint that fooled the iPhone 5S security lock. The group posted detailed instructions online. They did it after a website said it would pay a $16,000 reward to anyone who broke the iPhone's new security system. The Chaos Computer Club says it created several detailed videos so experts could verify the group's claim.
4 LinkedIn users have filed a lawsuit accusing the social network of accessing their email accounts without permission. The plaintiffs say that LinkedIn used the addresses of their contacts without first asking permission. The alleged LinkedIn is the sent invitations to the contacts to enlist them as new members. In a blog post, LinkedIn denies it had broken into or hacked user accounts. LinkedIn has always maintained that it gets full consent from its users before reaching out to any of their contacts.
French aviation officials say they discovered nearly $270 million worth of cocaine in suitcases. They found 1.3 tons of cocaine packed into dozens of suitcases. The suitcases were found on a plane traveling from Caracas, Venezuela, but were not registered to any passengers on the flight. French officials say several people had been taken into custody.
A transgender student was named homecoming queen of her high school in Huntington Beach. Cassidy Campbell says she went for the title at Marina High because she wants to make a statement. She hopes that being homecoming queen can help transgender people achieve equality. Campbell's mother says she never thought she would ever experience an event like this.
U.S. retailers will hire fewer holiday workers this year compared to last year. Stores and distribution centers will probably only add about 665,000 workers. This is about 100,000 fewer holiday workers than were hired during the 2012 holiday season. That was a 12-year high for seasonal hires. A recent report shows that consumer confidence is at its lowest level since April.
Thank you for watching Valley View News. I'm Rosie Chavez.
I'm Naomi Ogaldes. Have a great week.